Have you ever noticed how some older adults start to act a bit differently as they age? Maybe you've seen them developing peculiar habits, or maybe you've noticed that they resist asking for help, even when it's clear that they could use it. These changes can often seem confusing or even frustrating to those around them, but understanding the reasons behind these shifts in behavior can help us navigate the aging process with more compassion and empathy. In today's video, we're going to dive into 6 surprising things that older adults may do as they grow older. Things that are often overlooked, yet shockingly common. Whether it's their strong attachment to memories from the past, a fear of asking for assistance, or the quiet ways isolation can slowly take over, these behaviors can sometimes go unnoticed. However, they can deeply impact relationships, health, and an individual's overall well-being. By the end of this video, you'll not only have a better understanding of why these behaviors occur, but also discover small, simple changes in mindset and actions that can make a huge difference. You'll learn how to spot these signs early, how to approach them with sensitivity, and most importantly, how to maintain and strengthen your connection with loved ones as they age. If you've ever found yourself feeling confused, frustrated, or even helpless when it comes to taking care of an aging family member, or if you're getting older yourself and you're wondering about these changes, this video is definitely for you. We'll be diving into the unexpected truths of aging, and trust me, you won't want to miss these life-changing insights. Before we jump in, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel and turning on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Your support means the world to me. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it and share it with others who could benefit from this knowledge. If you find this topic interesting, please comment 1 below. If you have suggestions for how I can improve my videos, feel free to comment 0 to let me know. Now, let's dive right in. 1. Developing unusual habits. As we grow older, it's not at all unusual for older adults to develop certain habits or behaviors that might seem a bit odd or puzzling to those around them. These shifts can be subtle, creeping in slowly over time, often going unnoticed even by the person. At first, these changes may seem insignificant, but when viewed through the lens of emotional aging, they hold deeper meanings that often go beyond the surface. Take, for example, the obsessive routines that some older individuals develop. It may seem harmless at first, a preference for always sitting in the same chair at the dinner table or completing tasks in the same order every time. These little rituals may bring them comfort, providing a sense of control over an otherwise unpredictable world. However, as time goes on, these seemingly harmless habits can evolve into something much more rigid. It's not that they're stubborn or defiant, but rather that their lives have been marked by a constant flow of change and loss. The repetition offers them a small oasis of predictability, a way to hold on to something in a world that feels increasingly unfamiliar. But as family members, we may not always understand this need for structure. We may feel frustrated, even angered, when their routines clash with the dynamics of a modern world that demands flexibility. The same desire for stability often leads many older adults to become deeply attached to certain preferences, whether it's insisting on using specific brands of products or rejecting new technologies altogether. To others, this can appear as resistance to change or an unwillingness to adapt, yet it's not as simple as mere stubbornness. These preferences, although they might seem trivial to us, often reflect an emotional need for continuity and comfort. In a world that has shifted so drastically, from personal relationships to technology and society itself, it's understandable that they would seek solace in the familiar, something they can depend on amidst the chaos. Perhaps one of the most emotionally charged shifts is the tendency for some older adults to become more critical or harsh in their judgments of others. It's heartbreaking. A comment on how the furniture is arranged or a disapproving glance at how a meal is prepared may seem like nothing, but behind those words is often a deeper emotional truth, a fear of losing control. It may not be about the furniture or the food, but about the overwhelming feeling of life slipping through their fingers. As they age, the world they once knew begins to feel further away, and their attempts to hold on to something, anything, may come out as judgment or criticism. What may seem like a misplaced outburst is often a manifestation of deeper fears. fears of helplessness, dependency, and the painful awareness of the passage of time. These behaviors, which can seem quirky or even frustrating, are part of a natural aging process. Yes, they can make social interactions more difficult, and yes, they can sometimes leave family members and friends feeling unsure of how to respond. But it's important to understand that these changes are driven by the same human need for stability and reassurance that we all crave. When independence wanes and memory shifts, we hold tight to what we know because, in those moments, it's the only thing that feels safe. As challenging as it may be, the key to dealing with these behaviors lies in patience, empathy, and a deep understanding that these are not personal failings. They are part of the journey. We must learn to meet these changes with love, and remember that we too will one day face the passage of time. It is a bittersweet reality, but one that can teach us to cherish the precious moments, and to be kind, not just to the ones we love, but to ourselves. The behaviors we see are not signs of defiance, but expressions of vulnerability and need. The best we can do is approach them with an open heart, knowing that even the smallest actions, like accepting someone's rigid routine or honoring their preferences, can bring them comfort in a world that no longer feels as familiar. The need for change may never go away, but with patience and understanding, we can be the steady presence they need to navigate it. 2. Fear of asking for help. As people age, one of the most emotionally charged challenges they face is the deeply ingrained reluctance to ask for help, even when it's crystal clear that they could benefit from it. This hesitation is often a direct result of a lifetime spent striving for independence, something that older adults hold dear and often view as a personal achievement. The thought of asking for help feels like an admission of vulnerability, a crack in the armor of self-sufficiency that they've spent decades building. For many, the very act of asking for assistance triggers a sense of shame, as if it's a betrayal of their lifelong desire to be self-reliant. It's an emotionally painful reality, one that comes with the haunting fear that by asking for help, they're somehow relinquishing control, something they've fought so hard to maintain. This struggle is not just about pride, it's tied to a deeply human need to feel in control, to avoid the unbearable thought of becoming a burden. It's heartbreaking because these individuals don't want to impose on their loved ones, even though their concern comes from a place of love and consideration. Ironically, this fear of being a burden can make it even harder to reach out, leading to an internal battle between wanting assistance and the fierce drive to protect others from any perceived obligation. For so many older adults, this conflict can feel like an emotional tug-of-war, with feelings of guilt and helplessness often winning. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In American culture, where the ideal of independence is so heavily emphasized, this internal struggle is amplified. Independence is not just valued, it's idolized. So, older adults often feel an overwhelming societal pressure to uphold this ideal, even when it's no longer practical or even safe. This pressure to handle things on their own can create a dangerous mindset, causing them to refuse help even when everyday tasks, like grocery shopping, home maintenance, or personal care, become physically overwhelming. It's not just stubbornness. It's a deeply ingrained fear of losing what little autonomy they have left. They may continue pushing themselves to the brink, even when it puts their health at risk, simply because they don't want to admit that they need help. But this refusal to accept help, as noble as it may seem, can lead to devastating consequences, both physically and emotionally. The toll it takes is often invisible, but it's there, building quietly over time. When assistance is needed but not sought, isolation begins to creep in. Older adults may withdraw from social activities and even family gatherings, unwilling to let others see them as frail or incapable. This self-imposed isolation can worsen over time, gradually feeding into feelings of loneliness, abandonment, and even depression. It's a vicious cycle that spirals out of control, leaving them feeling more alone than ever. Worse, this isolation can prevent them from seeking the medical care they desperately need. A simple doctor's visit is delayed, an injury is ignored, or a health issue is neglected, all because they don't want to burden anyone with their needs. It's tragic how easily someone can suffer in silence, simply because they fear asking for help. To break this cycle, we must create an environment where older adults feel safe and supported, where asking for help isn't seen as a sign of weakness but rather an act of strength. It's so important to foster open, compassionate, and judgment-free conversations about the challenges they face. We need to reassure them that accepting help doesn't mean losing control or independence. It means finding new ways to preserve their dignity and well-being. Helping them see that leaning on others, whether it's for everyday tasks or emotional support, can empower them to live fuller, healthier lives, can make all the difference. The key lies in shifting the narrative, helping them embrace the idea that they can still retain their sense of autonomy while accepting the support they need. In doing so, we not only preserve their independence but also their emotional peace and sense of self-worth. 3. Attachment to the past. As time passes and we grow older, it's only natural for us to feel a stronger attachment to the past. The older we get, the more we find ourselves longing for those simpler days, those precious moments when life felt more secure and the world seemed less complicated. For many seniors, nostalgia becomes a constant companion, gently pulling them back to a time when things felt more predictable, more manageable, and most importantly, safer. The past is where they find emotional warmth, a comforting reminder of the routines and experiences that once brought them peace. It's a refuge from a present that often feels uncertain, chaotic, and overwhelming. There is absolutely nothing wrong with cherishing those beloved memories. After all, they are the threads that have woven together the story of a person's life. These memories are like treasures, holding within them moments of love, joy, and comfort. But when we start to cling to those memories a little too tightly, they can begin to trap us in the past, making it difficult to fully embrace the present or look with hope toward the future. The past may seem simpler, quieter, and more predictable than today's fast-paced world. In those days, life felt less complex, and challenges were easier to understand and navigate. But with the way the world is changing, this longing for the past can make it hard to adapt to new ways of living. For some, this resistance can manifest in ways that seem trivial, like refusing to pick up a smartphone, avoid using social media, or resisting the ease of online shopping, simply because it feels foreign and intimidating. It's a sense of hesitation, of wanting to stay in the comfort of what is known, even if the present is full of exciting possibilities. Unfortunately, this attachment to the past can create a subtle but painful disconnection from the people around us. Family and friends, with all the love and care they offer, may not fully understand why their loved one seems distant or uninterested in what's going on today. They may feel rejected, hurt by what seems like a lack of appreciation for their attempts to create new memories or experiences. But the truth is, the older adult is not rejecting them. They're simply holding on to what they know, because it provides them with a sense of security. The world has become unfamiliar, and with that unfamiliarity comes anxiety and fear. When everything around you feels like it's changing too quickly, it's only human to find comfort in the things that once felt stable. Left unaddressed, this resistance to change can gradually lead to emotional isolation. If we spend too much time looking backward, we miss out on the joys and experiences that come with living in the now. The world moves forward, and we are left behind in the shadows of what was. It's heartbreaking to think about how many older adults may feel forgotten, struggling to find their place in a world that seems to have passed them by. But the key to helping them through this is not to force change on them, but rather to guide them with patience and understanding. It's about finding a delicate balance between honoring their past and encouraging them to step forward into the present. Small, gentle steps can make all the difference. Teaching them how to video call a loved one, revisiting old memories while creating new ones, or simply showing them that it's never too late to learn something new. This approach can help bridge the gap between the comfort of the past and the beauty of the present, allowing them to feel a renewed sense of connection to the people and world around them. In my heart, I believe that this process of finding balance is not just about embracing technology or new trends. It's about offering our elders the opportunity to feel seen, heard, and valued, in a world that can sometimes feel overwhelming and unwelcoming. Their stories, their memories, are treasures we must honor, but we also need to make sure they feel loved and included in the here and now. We owe it to them, just as they have given us so much. 4. Increased isolation. As we grow older, the world around us can begin to feel quieter, smaller, and more distant. For many older adults, social invitations, once a regular part of their lives, start to fade away. Friends and family members, wrapped up in their busy routines, may unintentionally forget the social needs of their older loved ones, or worse, fail to recognize the subtle signs of loneliness. Sometimes, it's not just that they're too preoccupied, it's that older adults, reluctant to impose or be a burden, quietly withdraw from asking for help. This gradual withdrawal often leads them to isolate themselves, diminishing the joy and connection they once found in family gatherings, church services, or outings with friends. What begins as a slight preference for solitude, a desire to escape the hustle and bustle of the outside world, can, over time, turn into a deep-seated isolation that is difficult to shake. At first, staying home alone might seem like a peaceful relief. The constant noise, the stress of travel, and the overwhelming energy of large crowds all become taxing as the years pass. But as the days turn into weeks and the weeks into months, that peace can morph into something more concerning. The relief from social interaction transforms into a profound sense of detachment. No longer involved in the everyday life of friends and family, older adults can begin to feel as though they are fading into the background. The emotional and physical distance between them and the people they love grows, and with it, a sense of disconnection takes root, an aching loneliness that grows more and more difficult to ignore. It's important to recognize that isolation in older adults isn't just about being alone. It's a deeply emotional experience that can have far-reaching effects on both the heart and mind. Without the warmth and support of regular social engagement, older adults face a higher risk of depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. Social interaction is not just a luxury, it's a vital necessity. It's how we maintain our emotional health, how we stay mentally sharp, and how we keep our immune system strong. Yet, when social isolation sets in, it chips away at the spirit. Feelings of sadness and frustration rise, often leading to a sense of invisibility, as though they no longer have a place in a world that seems to be moving on without them. The damage of isolation doesn't stop at mental health. It reaches into the body, too. As older adults pull back from social events, they often stop engaging in the physical activity that those events would naturally provide. The simple act of getting out, walking, and interacting with others helps keep muscles strong, improves balance, and supports cardiovascular health. Without this regular activity, physical health deteriorates, leading to muscle weakness, balance issues, and even heart problems. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. Less physical activity leads to poorer health, which leads to even less engagement with the world around them. And so, the cycle continues, further eroding both mind and body. The only way to disrupt this cycle is through compassionate intervention. It's about reaching out, even when it feels awkward or uncomfortable, and offering older adults opportunities to reconnect with the world around them. Encouraging small but meaningful engagements, like inviting them to dinner, scheduling regular phone calls, or introducing them to new hobbies that involve others, can make a world of difference. The goal is to help them see that socializing doesn't have to be a daunting task. It can be a rewarding experience. It's about creating environments where older adults feel safe, valued, and excited to reconnect with their communities, where they can experience joy in the company of others. Moreover, connecting older adults with support networks and community services can be a lifeline. These resources can provide not just social engagement, but also the mental and emotional support they need to feel seen and heard once again. It's not about forcing them to rejoin every social event. It's about offering them the opportunity to choose connection, at their own pace, on their terms. In doing so, we can help break the painful grip of isolation and bring back the sense of belonging that every person deserves, no matter their age. 5. Stubbornness about health. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment, 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. As we move through life, aging often brings with it a series of challenges, some physical, some emotional. But one of the most significant and heartfelt struggles many older adults face is a reluctance to seek medical care or follow the health advice that could improve their well-being. This resistance doesn't stem from laziness or negligence. Rather, it's deeply rooted in a complex mix of emotional barriers, psychological factors, and past experiences. For many seniors, the fear of facing a serious diagnosis is one of the most frightening thoughts imaginable. They've lived decades with the belief that they were in control of their health, and the thought of losing that control can be utterly terrifying. For some, the idea of a routine checkup or visiting a specialist may feel like opening a door to an unpleasant truth, one they might not be ready to confront. Their entire sense of self has been built on years of being healthy, strong, and resilient, and the prospect of hearing that things aren't as they once were can shake the foundation of their identity. It's important to understand that many older adults have spent most of their lives feeling well and functioning independently. Their bodies have been their allies, helping them manage through life's ups and downs. They've worked hard, raised families, and navigated the complexities of daily living without the need for constant medical intervention. Health problems, if they ever arose, were usually short-term issues, easily managed or simply part of the normal aging process. So, when faced with the suggestion of seeing a doctor regularly or starting medications, it can feel not only unnecessary but almost alien. Why, after all these years, would they suddenly need to take medication or see a doctor for issues that have never really bothered them before? The very idea seems out of place in the context of a lifetime of good health. And let's be honest, there's a deeply ingrained fear that something much worse might be lurking beneath the surface, just waiting to be discovered, something that could shatter their sense of security. The fear of discovering that their health is no longer as stable as it once was can be so overwhelming that they may ignore the small signs, telling themselves that everything is fine. Beyond fear, there is also a profound sense of pride and autonomy that many older adults fiercely protect. For decades, they have taken pride in being self-sufficient, in handling their problems without leaning on others. Admitting that they might need help, whether from family members or healthcare professionals, is not something they easily accept. To them, it feels like an erosion of their identity, a sign of weakness or loss of control. They may think, "I've managed just fine without doctors or medications all these years. Why would I start now?" This belief is especially strong for those who have spent most of their lives without significant health issues. To ask for help, to acknowledge that their body is no longer what it once was, feels like a betrayal of the very independence they've cherished and worked so hard to maintain. It's almost as if they've built their life around the idea of being invulnerable and seeking medical care challenges that deeply held belief. However, this stubbornness can have truly heartbreaking consequences. By resisting medical care, older adults might unintentionally allow minor health issues to worsen. Something as simple as high blood pressure, which could be easily managed with medication or lifestyle changes, might go unchecked, increasing the risk of heart disease or stroke. Even something like joint pain, which many dismiss as a natural part of aging, can be a sign of a serious underlying condition, such as arthritis, that, if left untreated, can lead to chronic pain and disability. The avoidance of regular checkups means that these issues can spiral out of control without them even realizing it, and what might have been a small inconvenience turns into a life-altering problem. Perhaps the most tragic of all is when a seemingly benign issue, like a persistent cough, is brushed off, only to later be diagnosed as something far more severe, like pneumonia or even lung cancer. It's heartbreaking to think that a person might spend months or even years ignoring warning signs simply because they didn't want to face the truth about their health. And yet, despite these risks, the key to encouraging older adults to seek medical care isn't through force or pressure, but through understanding, patience, and love. The approach must be gentle, kind, and full of empathy. It's about recognizing the incredible resilience and strength they've shown throughout their lives and using that same strength to help them make the best decisions for their future. Encouraging them to prioritize their health isn't about criticism. It's about showing them that taking care of themselves is an extension of the very independence they value. Instead of framing medical care as something they must do because they're sick, we should frame it as something that will help them maintain their autonomy, strength, and quality of life for as long as possible. One of the most helpful ways to support older adults is by being actively involved in their health care. This can mean offering to make appointments for them or even accompanying them to the doctor's office for support. For many older adults, the idea of navigating the healthcare system can be daunting, so having someone they trust by their side can make all the difference. It's not about forcing them into something they don't want. It's about providing them with the support they need to take that first step to face their health concerns without fear. Sometimes, just a reassuring hand on their shoulder or a simple reminder that their health is worth investing in can help them feel more comfortable with the idea of seeking medical help. The goal isn't to diminish their independence, but to empower them to take care of themselves in a way that respects their dignity and autonomy. Ultimately, the message is simple. Seeking medical advice and care is not a sign of weakness or loss of control. It's a powerful way to continue living life fully, to enjoy the freedom that comes with good health, and to remain the strong, capable individual they've always been. It's an act of self-love and self-respect, a way to honor the life they've lived by taking the steps necessary to protect it. By gently encouraging older adults to embrace medical care, we are not only helping them manage their health, but we are also helping them maintain the independence, dignity, and quality of life that they deserve in their later years. After all, their health is a gift that deserves to be nurtured and protected with the same care and respect that they have given to others throughout their lives. 6. Accumulating items. As people grow older, it's almost inevitable that they begin to accumulate things. It's not just about collecting objects. It's about holding on to pieces of the past that bring comfort, nostalgia, and a sense of security in an ever-changing world. As time passes, we accumulate memories, experiences, and things that become symbols of our life's journey. For many older adults, the act of keeping old clothes, stacks of papers, and used kitchen gadgets, or even broken appliances that haven't seen the light of day in years is more than just a matter of clutter. It's an emotional need to preserve a sense of self and continuity. I've often seen older individuals, including family members and friends, cling to objects that others might dismiss as nothing more than junk. But for them, those items tell stories that words can't express. I remember my grandmother, who never let go of an old, frayed scarf she wore during her youth. It seemed so simple, yet it held so much more. It was a tangible reminder of love, youth, and a time when life was different. She kept it because it reminded her of her late husband, and in a way, it helped keep his memory alive. For her, that scarf wasn't just fabric. It was a lifeline to a time when things felt simpler and more predictable. These items, often dismissed by others as clutter, carry deep emotional significance. For many older adults, this accumulation is not just about sentimentality. It's about control in a world where so much feels out of their hands. As health declines, as the home becomes too large to manage, or as the painful loss of a spouse shakes the foundation of their lives, holding on to things becomes a way to anchor themselves in a world that no longer seems to fit. There's a profound comfort in the physical act of maintaining control over one's environment, especially when other parts of life are falling away. Every photograph, every letter, every little trinket becomes a symbol of stability in a world that's shifting beneath their feet. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I believe that this accumulation is also a way for people to feel emotionally secure. Holding on to a piece of their past, the things they cherish, gives them something solid to cling to, especially as they navigate the uncertainty of aging. It's easy for outsiders to see piles of old magazines or overflowing drawers and think of it as clutter or hoarding. But to the person living with these objects, each one is a tiny lifeline, a connection to a life well lived, a love once shared, a place that no longer exists but in memory. There's a silent language in these possessions, telling a story of resilience, of a life lived fully, despite the heartache and loss. However, I also recognize the challenge that comes with accumulating items. While it's natural to hold on to things with sentimental value, the sheer weight of physical possessions can sometimes become too much to bear. It's not just the emotional toll, but the practical burden these items can create. A home once filled with warmth and cherished memories can start to feel cramped and chaotic as clutter takes over. And in some cases, it can even create safety hazards. Piles of papers that make it difficult to navigate, broken items that no longer serve a function but still take up precious space. This is when the fine balance between emotional attachment and practical living becomes crucial. Addressing this issue with empathy is key. I've learned that it's not about forcing someone to declutter or simply getting rid of things that no longer serve a purpose, in a practical sense. It's about understanding the deeper emotional significance these objects hold. Instead of a harsh intervention, a gentle conversation can be more effective. I've seen how much better it works when you sit down with a loved one, walk through their cherished items together, and listen to the stories behind each one. When you acknowledge the importance of those memories, it becomes easier to help them decide what to keep and what to let go of. It's about helping them make room for the present while still honoring the past. In the end, it's about finding that delicate balance. We must respect their attachments, but we also need to ensure their living space supports their physical and emotional well-being. It's about helping them create an environment where they can feel secure, connected to their memories, yet still able to move freely and live comfortably. There's no perfect solution, but there's beauty in the effort to honor both their past and their future, ensuring that they are surrounded by what truly matters. As we've explored today, the act of accumulating items as we age isn't just about holding on to physical things. It's about preserving memories, finding comfort, and maintaining control in an ever-changing world. The delicate balance between sentimental attachment and practical living is something many of us will face as we grow older, and it's crucial that we approach it with understanding and compassion. So, what have you learned from this video today? Is there something in particular that resonated with you? Maybe it's the emotional value behind the things we keep, or the importance of approaching our loved ones with empathy when they face the challenge of letting go. I'd love to hear from you. Please comment below and share one thing you've learned today that you plan to bring into your life or share with someone you care about. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.